The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of its host and owners and in no way represent the views of the people, institutions, or organizations that Scenic City Sports is involved with in a professional or personal capacity. Thanks for watching and enjoy the show.
And welcome to Scenic City Sports tonight on a, what day is this, Wednesday?
I almost said late
Wednesday.
night, but you know,
I know. I looked at
you were trying to set me up for that, and I thought, no, I don't say that no more.
I was thinking the same thing. I looked at it, I was like, he says late night here. I was like, no, he doesn't. It's Scenic City Sports
I
tonight.
quit that job, remember?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But coming to you on a Wednesday night. Sorry we couldn't be here on Sunday. Our producer's on the disabled list, but he is back. So glad to see he's feeling better. He's not wearing the shoes tonight.
The shoes that are getting so much pub out there in the North Georgia. Well,
those shoes could probably start to have their own religion. That's how awesome those shoes were last night.
a lot of thought put into it.
And the matching vest.
A lot of E for effort.
Matching vest and the shoes.
And that event
red velvet with black patent leather and gold buckles.
And that event was called what? Feathers Up.
Close enough.
Okay.
No, it's the LFO Feathers Award. Feather Awards. It's and Lakeview has done this. It's the fourth year now they've done this. It's for the entire athletic department to come together, and they honor the achievements of the year, like the not necessarily the top athletes, but they do who's the best leaders, male and female, the best underclassmen,
and they recognize the past and the present.
Yes, play of the year, team of the year. It's like the ESPYs.
Oh, okay.
Everybody gets dressed up.
Somebody's in the archives that's kept up with this.
Yeah,
or should I shoot that question over to
the kids MC it, and the each team gets up and presents an award and stuff like that. They had a fan vote for play of the year, and they said over 30,000 votes were cast. So they do it upright.
And I can't get an RSVP invite.
You just showed up. Well, I did. It was free.
Oh,
I didn't have to pay for it.
It was free.
Yeah. But they have been ever since the first one. They give the Jerry Jones Legacy Builder Feather Award.
Okay.
And last night the honoree was Chip Liner.
Chip Liner.
So if you haven't seen the video that LFO put together, Corey Ortwine did a fantastic job with it. We have posted that video onto our Scenic City Sports
Facebook.
Is that
Chip Liner better known as Amy Liner Allen's daddy / John Allen, father-in-law?
Yes.
Chip Liner?
Yes.
I hate to put those.
And Betsy and JJ Morris.
Okay. That Chip Liner.
They were there. But yeah, Coach Liner was there at LFO from 1974 to 2004. The fast pitch program was started. I think in 94 while he was there. He had kind of gotten the slow pitch program off the ground because Georgia sanctioned slow pitch softball in 1981. And if you guys know anything about Northwest Georgia and slow pitch softball back in the 80s, this area, well, really up until the mid-90s, dominated slow pitch softball.
But by the same token, that sport wasn't going to hang on. Fast pitch was coming hard and fast. Probably, I guess, starting from maybe the West Coast.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes.
But
you got to figure Northwest, Whitfield, Ringgold, Lakeview, Rossville and Chattanooga Valley both won slow pitch in the same season. The next year they merged into Ridgeland and won 4 titles in like 6 years. Gordon Lee won a slow pitch title in '93.
Now you just told me something I had forgotten. You're telling me when Ridgeland came together, Ridgeland won 4 state titles?
In slow pitch softball, yeah. Oh. They won in 89, 90, 93 or 94, and then 96. And then they didn't start fast pitch until 2001.
So they come a kicking and screaming, so to speak. But,
yeah.
But the opposition teams you're playing are falling to the wayside.
Yeah. But they had Stacia Morton as their first big fast pitch pitcher, and she pitched them to a region title.
Well,
and that's when LFO was, had been doing it for 5 or 6 years and had finished second in the state in '97, and they were the big dogs. I think I'll never forget. It was the night. I think it was 9/11, if I'm not mistaken. Lakeview and Ridgeland. They decided to go ahead and play the game, and I think that's the night that Ridgeland broke Lakeview's region winning streak.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
if it wasn't that night,
51 straight.
Yeah. It was a whole lot of games.
Well, and just to add on to that, what North Georgia's success has taken part in girls fastball?
Oh yeah,
and softball. Excuse me. I mean that they've really shined North Georgia.
There's hardly a program around here now that you can go way down from here to Calhoun. It's hard to find a fast pitch program in North Georgia that hasn't had some success at the state level, either by winning state titles, making it to Columbus in the final 8, making it third or fourth or whatever. Everybody has.
Yes, they've all had.
Everybody has. And if they haven't, they've had really good players that, probably should have gotten there. So anyway, if you guys want to check out that video of Coach Liner, very well done. Got a chance to speak to him after festivities last night, and so that story will be coming out. Catoosa County News and Walker County Messenger. Now, Spring Fling. Don't want to forget, Spring Fling's going on up in Murfreesboro, Rutherford County area. We have a ton of schools and teams and kids that are participating up there. I'm going to try to run through this real quick. Baseball, Single A, Lookout Valley was eliminated. Losses to Coalfield and Bradford, so Lookout Valley's eliminated. Silverdale, Division II Class A, got beat by Good Pasture, and then they lost today to North Point Christian, so Silverdale is eliminated. Great season for the Seahawks. I think they were 32-6 final record. McCallie is playing for the state championship. That'll be tomorrow. McCallie beat Baylor 3-2 in a game I understand got called off by rain.
I knew that part, but I didn't know the other part that you shared with me. And if that's true, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I have to do some more research on that one. Baylor turned around and lost to Lipscomb Academy, so Baylor was eliminated. McCallie moved on. They beat Knox Catholic 3-0 in the semis. So McCallie into the finals tomorrow, starting at 1 o'clock, weather permitting. Still don't know who they're going to be facing yet, but they'll have to lose twice. So McCallie will have a game in their pocket.
Now help me out here, and this may taxi all our memories, but Coach Payne, last coach at McCallie to win a state championship. The year they won that, were they in this situation, or did they have to come back through the losers bracket?
I don't recall.
I think they were in the spot.
If anybody knows,
I think they were in the spot.
Send us a message on the feed here, and we'll do that. I cannot remember. That was 15
years ago?
No, 2015. Was it 2015?
Oh, 15.
Or was it 20?
I don't know.
It's been a while.
He still wears the T-shirt, so.
Yeah. Softball. Let's move softball real quick. Meigs County girls were eliminated. They've had back-to-back losses, close losses, to Forest and Loretto. Let's see. Saudi Daisy lost their opening game 3-2 to Lexington, who came in, I think they were 47-1. Then they turned around and beat Brighton 6-0. Now, Rusty, I meant to tell you to look that one up too. Saudi Daisy was playing Gibbs.
All right, hold on.
In the winners bracket. This is Class 3A softball, so if you can get us a final score on that. I knew Saudi was going to have to win 5 straight to win the state title after losing that first one. But it's good to see them back in there. Division 2.
That would be Division 1.
Class 3A.
3A, yeah.
Should be down the losers bracket. While he's looking that up real quick, Division 2 AA. GPS beat Tipton Rosemark 6-1. Baylor beat CCS 6-0. There was only 4 teams in that bracket. So GPS and Baylor, surprise, surprise, will be playing in the winners bracket final tomorrow. Chattanooga Christian gets Tipton Rosemark in a losers bracket game, but the Lady Chargers are still not out of it yet.
Gibbs won that game, Scott, 9-2.
Okay, so Saudi is now eliminated from Class 3A. So we got 3 teams left. They're all in Division 2 AA. Boys soccer. Red Bank beat Austin East 2-1 today, but then they lost 1-0 to Page in the semifinals. So Red Bank is eliminated. Saudi Daisy lost 2-1 to Valor College Prep. Never heard of them. There's a lot of new schools in Tennessee that have opened. I have no idea. I've never heard of some of these schools before. But Valor College Prep beat Saudi Daisy 2-1. So Saudi Daisy was eliminated. Boyd Buchanan is into the finals. They'll play Franklin Grace tomorrow at 4 p.m. They beat USN, which I'm assuming is University School of Nashville. I could be wrong on that, but I know USJ is University School of Jackson, so I'm going to assume USN is University School of Nashville. They beat them 2-1. And then Baylor gets a little revenge for the baseball team. They beat McCallie 3-1, so Baylor's in the finals tomorrow night against Father Ryan. Moving on. McCallie's your state tennis champion. That's not much of a surprise. Seems like they win it every year. They beat NBA 4-0 in the semis, and they turn around and beat MUS 4-0 in the finals.
It's sad that McCallie has to travel to Middle Tennessee to play on facilities that probably aren't half as good as what they're playing on in all week.
CSAS did play in the boys 1A tournament. They lost 4-0 to Merrill Hyde. The singles and doubles tournaments will start tomorrow for boys and girls. Speaking of girls, McMinn County was eliminated with a 4-0 loss to Tennessee High. Baylor beat Brentwood Academy 4-0 in the semifinals, then lost 4-0 to Knoxville Catholic in the finals, so the Baylor girls are your state runner-up. Track also got started. The results they posted were kind of scattered when I was looking at the site. So we've got a whole long list of kids, and just for time's sake, we won't be able to mention them all. But we'll say that if the and I'm 99% sure, because it said final result, so I'll take that with a grain of salt. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe it was just preliminary scores, but I think these are final results now. Class Single A, Brainerd finishes 3rd in state, Sequatchie County 5th, Tyner 6th, and South Pittsburgh 15th. In Class 2A, Signal Mountain Boys were 3rd, East Hamilton was 4th. I will mention Jeremiah Flemons, though. We know what kind of athlete he is from football season. Jeremiah Flemons finished 3rd in the long jump, won the triple jump, won the high jump, won the 110 hurdles.
A lot of points.
Yeah. I believe that's 36 if you're scoring at home. And then Class A girls, we had Tellico Plains, CSAS, and Brainerd all making the top 15. Sequatchie County got in there 20th. And again, if what I saw is correct and accurate, Signal Mountain is your girls' state track champions in Class 2A. I'm trying to get that verified.
And have they done that before?
I believe they have.
So.
I believe they have. I think they've done it for cross country too. They just got a factory up there of distance runners, if nothing else.
Well, you run up and down that mountain a few times a week, and you might get pretty good at that.
Track's one of those things. Like I said, Gordon Lee's girls won it last week down in Georgia, and they scored 76 points on the first day, like in the field events and one distance event.
Okay.
They didn't even have to be in any other. I mean, they had it won after that. They ended up winning by about 25, 30 points or something like that.
And we had a young lady on there here about this time last year when she won the state championship, Scott, for Brentwood Academy in the in the shot and the disc, and she, talking to her coach, my friend Steve Wade, she broke the state record a few weeks ago, then turned around to the next meet and broke it again.
19 total events, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, all I can find right now is just from yesterday.
And I think that counts heptathlon too. So
yeah, I'm seeing yesterday they're in first place with 91 points.
But that sounds like a final total.
Well, I was going to say, because, I mean, they're 31 points ahead. Or, no, I'm sorry. They are 12 points ahead of the closest team to them, which is Martin Luther King in second.
Yeah.
And then 31 ahead of the third place team.
I was trying to pull up the Saudi Daisy Track and Field Facebook page to see if somebody had posted anything yet. I haven't seen anything.
3A, right? Yeah, this is listed in results, so we're in the right spot. And then,
but just the way they had everything listed on the TWS, the Belay side, it was just kind of.
Saudi would be 3A. Though,
well,
right?
And everything's coming to a head, guys.
Well, track is like single A and double A, and that's it. They don't have.
Well,
2A and
they're
3A.
showing an A, double A,
Do they?
triple A on here. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll look in
I think
single A,
it's
but
I might be wrong on the date,
I'm a little-
Scott. June 4th. I think it's best of preps,
Could be.
or it might
Could be.
might be the week after. But
Stetson Bennett.
I think it's June 4th. I think I heard. So everything's wrapping
Coming
up, and seasons are all over. And I was speaking to some
And summer workouts in football start in North Georgia on June 6th.
And well,
June
and
6th.
then that rolls right into the quote unquote dreaded dead period that we
Well,
can't pretend that we're
not dreaded for some of us.
well, I know you take your
So-
long vacation to the hills.
Yeah, we're actually leaving Friday for a vacation, and I don't know if we'll do anything else over the summer.
But the moment that that bell drops and they come back from that, it's wide open. I mean, you got the 7-on-7s going.
Yep. Got a bunch of those coming
You
up.
know that. I know you watch a lot more of that than I have, but it just and I think it happens like this for the teams as well. It just gets a little monotonous after a few of them.
Well,
You
yeah.
know, you've seen it. They've done it. Let's move on. Let's get to playing football.
It's good to have your kids, compete against somebody else. That's basically what it is. I mean, sure, you can work on pass routes and timing, but it's not real football. I don't care what anybody says. I get tickled when people say, "Well, our team just won this big 7-on-7 tournament." Yeah, you had nobody rushing you.
I know.
It doesn't matter.
And of course, there's some of those 7-on-7s are team kids that go through it all year long, even back in the winter, and they go off to other states, warm weather, of course.
Oh yeah.
Or indoor facilities and play tournaments itself. So that's something that just kind of continuously goes on.
And then you get some of these teams that, you see them in 7-on-7s, and they pass more time in a 7-on-7 than they do the entire regular season.
We could start naming some of those
Yes.
schools, but we won't.
But there are a bunch of 7-on-7s coming up all throughout Chattanooga and North Georgia, and I'm sure we'll try to get out to a couple of those and just get an idea of what's going on, because look, we love high school football. It is technically high school football, and it's good to kind of get your feet wet in that.
I was speaking to one of my sources a few weeks ago, and we were just going down through the Chattanooga teams itself, and Bradley County. We didn't venture down into North Georgia. I said, just tell me this team better or worse than last year. And it was interesting to hear what he was saying from a perspective, because he really has a feel for all those teams, and he knows who's coming and who's going, who lost what, and you might see some of the changing of the guards if he had any accuracy to him.
Yeah. So, we start, like I said, June 6th is kind of the first day of workouts, and I believe the first fall scrimmage, at least in North Georgia, that I'm aware of, is August 5th.
August 5th. Well,
That's 2 months.
I know we all.
That's a little more than 2 months away.
But we always get excited in the early future of when football comes around, and we start talking about it way out in advance. And again, to quote a famous Jet linebacker, can't wait.
Can't wait.
Bart Scott.
He's doing a show on ESPN now.
He is.
Yeah, he got himself involved in a little brouhaha a few weeks ago. Him and the big tall guy that does the show with him, they got to talking mess at Keyshawn and Jay Will,
And they're going to play him.
and they're going to play him. Yeah, and I mean Jason Williams, 2-time College Player of the Year,
Yeah.
and can still, there was footage a week or two ago of Jason Williams flipping a half court shot like it was nothing, and the minute it leaves his hands, he goes count it and just walks away. I mean,
Yeah, I heard that, and they're playing. They've played that up now for about close to a month, actually, Rusty. And I don't know exactly when they're going to play each other, but I think they're having a good time with it.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
air.
Well, he went to Duke, so I can't root for him. But
yeah, exactly.
how good would he have been in the pros
Oh,
if he hadn't had the car wreck?
he'd have been incredible. I mean, there's a lot of those Duke guys. Bobby Hurley was already well on his way to a good pro career, and then had that near fatal car wreck years ago when he played for Sacramento. There's been a lot of those Duke guys. But I'm like you. I ain't gonna give any of them an ounce of credit.
Or Jason, that was motorcycle wreck.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Jason Williams was motorcycle.
Hurley was
the truck.
Yeah.
Flipped his truck over in Sacramento playing for the Kings.
Yeah.
Coming home from the arena one night, and if I remember right, didn't he wind up in like shallow water in a ditch or something upside down?
It was pretty bad.
And if there's any sport
bad.
out there, from the experts that get to commentate on it on a daily basis, you will never meet a more fickle bunch of people that are commentating and predicting. Because, Scott, if a team loses one night, I mean, they just go from being the best team in the league to the worst team in the league, and then they flip it the next night, and they change their stories. Every one of them do that, so they've gotten together, and they must say, "Well, this is the way radio and TV really needs to be."
Well, my car, as some of you know, is still in the shop. Has to have a new engine. So in the meantime, I've been having to drive my wife's car, and a friend of ours has let us graciously borrow another car that my wife's been driving. So my car has Sirius satellite radio, so I can listen to,
bragger,
all this stuff.
Humble brag there.
I don't have it in her car, so if I want to listen to sports, I listen to the local station.
Is that the caddy that you've been driving around?
I'm not driving the caddy around. Somebody else is driving the caddy, but it ain't me. That's for sure.
Just kidding.
But so I've been listening to them about every single morning,
Mm-hmm.
And I know more about the Celtics and the Heat series than I care to know about.
Well,
that's all they're talking about. But it was funny because the first day, Miami won, right? Miami won the first game of the series.
And they were ready to put a fork in the Celtics.
Yeah. The next night, the Celtics won, and then all of a sudden, well, here's why Miami won the first game. The Celtics were tired because it was a 7-game series
and the Heat won't do any good.
Yeah, and then Boston won again. See, we told you. They're not going to win another game. Now Miami came back and then won by 20, and so today, change the story again.
Scott, they do that on every playoff series, and whether you're watching ESPN. Talking heads about it, or you're hearing it on radio. It's the same format.
It is.
Yeah,
they go back and forth according to what it is, and they doom the team that just got beat. And I think roll back yesterday's tape.
Yeah.
And listen to what you said about them.
It's comical.
It is.
I finally get to the point where I can't listen to it anymore. Let's find some music.
Sports radio in the last.
But you don't hear that in football and baseball. You don't hear those guys keep beating. Flip-flopping like that,
not
but
quite
in
as
basketball.
But I mean, the thing about basketball is literally one guy can make all the difference in the world one night to the next. But the bad part about it is sports radio has been gradually moving in that direction for so many years now. I swear, when you listen to it online, it's almost like a comment section comes to life, and it's nothing but negativity, and it's hard to watch for those of us that have been sports fans for most of our lives. And like the three of us, for instance. We all remember a day when, if you got online to read a sports story, you read the story and that was it. And now, years later, we have all these comment sections where everybody can throw their 2 cents worth in there, and everybody's an expert. None of them are getting paid to be experts, but yet their opinion matters. And
and it's not only teams; they do break that down on individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, and even from time to time LeBron's the Michael of today's era, but they'll get on his play from time to time. He's done. He needs to go on.
Oh yeah, you got to draw a rating from somewhere. But yeah, one of my go-to quotes, that are comments that I like to put out there is, "How is some front office not picked you up yet?"
Yeah.
And let you run their team. You are a tailor-made general manager. You know so much about this, Mr. I work at Walmart.
Yeah. And nothing against anybody that works at Walmart, anything like that. That's just...
Well, then am I not allowed to have an opinion? Yeah, you're allowed to have an opinion, but I'm reserving the right to make fun of your opinion because it's stupid.
I was going to say, and I'm allowed to tell you that your opinion's idiotic. I mean, that's
but
First Amendment
you're
there,
still
Chief.
entitled to it, too.
You can say what you want to say, and I can say what I want to say. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, fortunately for us, we didn't have to pass any course or anything to do this. We might tell you that in private, but
we got grandfathered in, basically.
We did.
Well, Scott makes me laugh because obviously with with the way Facebook is set up, you can kind of see what your friends are up to a lot of times. Say so-and-so's commenting on this. And I laugh sometimes because Scott will let himself get baited into some of these arguments on these ESPN sites or these Titan sites and stuff. And I can't help but laugh because it's just like some jerk off out there that literally his whole job is to just try and stir the pot, and that's all the dude sits there and does.
And who falls for it?
Oh, Herbst falls for it every time. He gets so mad. Golly.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't insult anybody.
No, you do not. I will give you credit for that. You don't say a bad word to nobody. You do not.
So nobody can accuse me of that.
Nope, they cannot.
Now, I've been called a bunch of stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, seriously, I'm putting facts out there, and well, you're an idiot. Oh, okay.
So where are we standing right now? I watched, let's see, Saturday when I got back home. I got back home Friday. Saturday I was here by myself most of the day, and somehow the television wound up on softball, and I watched softball for 2.5 hours.
Oh, I did too, man.
And so where are we standing right now? Super Regionals?
Regionals getting ready to start.
To which,
I don't have
to which brings my point why there can't be a 10 or 12 women's professional softball league. Just put them in the right towns. I don't mean the New York Cities of the world or the Chicago's, the right towns. And I think they'll support themselves.
And you would think so. And they've had 2 or 3 women's fast pitch leagues that just haven't. And like I said, I don't know if it's.
Can you not look back
marketing?
Of it?
I don't know if it's.
Well, they need MLB ball. Money. They do, and the NBA's keeping the WNBA open. So I mean, without their money, they would never be there. So MLB needs to help out in that respect, Scott. But again, it doesn't have to be 50,000 seat arenas, but it needs to be put in the right spots.
All right, so right now, what we've got,
and I'm actually going to be in Oklahoma City the first day of the Women's College World Series.
That could be one of those.
So
spots.
we have Oklahoma and UCF, and then Arizona State, Northwestern on one side of on the top half of the bracket. Other side of the top half, we got Virginia Tech and Florida, and then Stanford and Oregon State. Then on the bottom half of the bracket, we have UCLA and Duke, and Arkansas and Texas. And then on the opposite side, we have Oklahoma State and Clemson, Mississippi State, and Arizona.
Yeah.
So a lot of the, you just get on through here, and I mean, there's UCLA, there's Arizona, there's Stanford, there's Arizona State.
Of course, Stanford,
a lot of the usual suspects.
Yeah, Stanford just knocked out Alabama.
So I didn't hear the SEC schools.
We've
Oregon
got
State knocked out
Florida
Tennessee.
still left.
Florida.
And Arkansas, Florida, and and Texas. If you go ahead and count Texas as an SEC.
Well, I guess
school.
Oklahoma too, but for right now, only 2 SEC teams, which is really a shock.
Yeah, really small.
Well, I mean, what about? I mean, okay,
and of course, Clemson just started a
Mississippi
program.
State. Am I wrong in? Is this a big deal to have Duke in there? Because I don't remember.
Duke has come on strong in the last year or two, and they were a national seed, if I'm not mistaken.
I was gonna say, I just don't remember seeing Duke in a super regional. And
this might be their first ever appearance in a super regional. I could be wrong on that, but it's close. But we mentioned Clemson, like I said, and Rachel Gibson, who starred at Heritage, is down there. I think she's redshirting this year, but that's a program that just has got it going about 4 years ago, getting the infrastructure ready, and they started, I think, last year or whatever, and now they're already in the super regional. I mean, that's a program that has really come on strong, and I heard they just added a gymnastics program down there, too.
Well, a school that had a long history of baseball success. Mm-hmm. Then we know their recent success in football. So, winning in other sports, I think, breeds success to others.
Yeah. And did you mention Florida State? I didn't. Did you say Florida State's in the Super Regional? Or did they get?
No.
Mississippi State beat them, didn't they?
Yeah, Mississippi State beat Florida State. Yeah.
So there's 3 teams. Actually.
I believe that they were defending state champs.
So let's see. We've got. There's 1, 2.
But the crowds have been
3
incredible.
current SEC. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the Pac-12. UCF, what are they? They're the Sun Belt.
They are the American.
That's right.
So for right now, but they're about to be in the Big 12.
So Vatech, Clemson, Duke. I mean, that's 3 ACC schools. That's probably the first time there's been 3 ACC schools in the Super Regional.
Yeah.
In quite some time.
And like I said, I think Florida State is defending national champ.
And let me hitchhike on that Virginia Tech. Their boys baseball team is ranked second in the nation, and the girls softball team is also in the top 10. You don't think of that school as of the past that those two spring sports would be that good, but they
are. I think one of their softball pitchers had a no hitter in the regionals. I think she struck out. I wanted to say it was 19 batters, something like that.
A school that was once upon a time known for its football, but they see other sports coming on.
Well, they're still good at football.
They're average.
Well, they're a little bit better than average. It's still on my bucket list to go there at night.
The sources that I have that are there say that it's rocking.
Yeah. Yeah,
loud and rocking.
If you've never seen the video of, I keep looking at you. Here's the camera. If you've never seen the video of Virginia Tech, the entrance when they're doing Enter Sandman, and Metallica actually filmed something for them to put on the video screen, it'll give you chill bumps.
It's one of the better entrances of college football.
It'll give you chill bumps. I think it's the best. I think it's the best.
And speaking of college,
and I'm a Tennessee fan, but I think that's the best.
And speaking of college football, and Commissioner Sankey does have a gag order, but I don't think he listed us three that I know of. I didn't get nothing in the mail. Your thoughts on what Coach Saban said a little over a week ago or so now that kind of made some folks inside the league a little mad at him, but at the same token, some coaches stuck up and said, what are y'all mad at? He says he told the truth.
I want to know what Jimbo was referring to when he says, if you really want to know what goes on behind the scene, that's what I'm more interested in.
Well, all the coaches that ever worked for Coach Saban, I think he was almost alluding, because I think he threw up, asked some other coaches that's worked for him. Now what are you going to do? You going to rat the guy out because you were part of all his success and now you're over there on your own? You know, I don't think Saban didn't tell the truth. I think he's backtracking a little bit because I think it came out in a way that offended some people, and maybe he wasn't trying to offend people necessarily. But, you know, I remember when Coach Jimbo was down there at Florida State, and I listened to him on ESPN channels coming back from a vacation in the Panhandle, and I always thought he whines a lot. He whines a lot, and he didn't get that job over at Texas A&M to come in third place in that region. No. Now he just put the best class in the country together, but now the pressure's on. Let's see if you're gonna coach him up. Let's see if you're gonna win that division.
And you know, why did Saban say what he said? You know, is he really concerned, or was he? Read between the lines.
Just having fun.
Hey,
I'd like to take a stab at that.
I'm speaking to a bunch of my boosters here in Birmingham, and we may need your help.
All right,
so
I don't know.
Think of it like this. I was just having this conversation with my dad the other day, actually. Outside of Birmingham, Montgomery, and maybe Mobile, which are the three biggest cities, industrial areas in Alabama.
Okay, Birmingham,
Montgomery, Huntsville, maybe Mobile area, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Once you get outside those three areas, and this is no knock on the state of Alabama, but once you get outside of those three areas, Alabama is mostly farmland.
Sure.
Now,
so we're calling on the farmers of the world.
Texas is massive.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimbo's got a point that Nick needs to kind of manage his own closet, so to speak. But at the same time, Nick's desperate at this point because if you add that NIL stuff in, how many car dealerships, how many oil refineries, how many big time and you ain't even got into Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio. There are so many areas in Texas, not to mention the fact that that's the friggin' football capital of the world. There is unlimited NIL funds in that state. This might be the one thing that no matter how good a recruiter Nick Saban is,
I agree.
He can't compete.
I agree.
Right.
He could find himself behind the 8 ball
quickly
in that, and I think he feels that in that respect, because I think there was a comment made out there that if he knew it was going to come to this 10 years ago, he'd be coaching in the state of Texas.
I think he's starting to find himself in a bit of a situation he's not familiar with and maybe not too comfortable with, and maybe I don't know if he meant to start saying all that stuff. Of course, then he brings up Deion Sanders and Jackson State, and I'm like, do we have any proof that kid got any money from Jackson State? I mean, right now that kid signed an NIL deal with a coffee company.
Yeah.
And again, that's the two swinging doors that swung open. That's now the schools that have do, and the ones that don't won't.
Well, then I get tickled. The NCAA turn around and say, "Well, we've got to rein this in." You had your chance. You had your chance, and you said we're going to leave it up to the schools to figure this out.
You opened Pandora's box.
Yeah, the toothpaste is out of the tube. It ain't going back in.
It ain't going back in.
So you can try all you want to try to curb it and and then you're going to get hit with an antitrust lawsuit. And there's enough people in Congress that they'll make sure the NCAA loses that one.
Well, and again, if you start making a list, and I don't think Alabama, the University of Alabama, and T-Town's broke by no means, but you start making a list of who's got what from a resource standpoint, well, we can start naming off those top 5, and T-Town may not be in it.
Texas and California, if it comes right down to this potentially being what it could be, the rest of the nation will have a hard time keeping up with the Texas and the California schools, just because of the sheer and Florida, really, for that matter. I mean, my God, Florida's got Disney. I mean, that's
but on the flip side,
well, Florida's not too happy with Disney right now, but
on the flip side of that too, those coaches won't be given a whole lot of leverage as far as staying power.
Yep.
There won't be none of this. Well, I need 5 years to put a team together. No, coach, you got 5 months.
I was going to know, coach. You
got one class.
You got a short amount of time.
Just gave you.
I don't want to hear 5 years.
7 5-stars or whatever. Do something with that.
Well, and again, what's the other thing that can happen, Scott, in the transfer portal? Now, Texas A&M gets 7 5-stars. Who's to say all 7 of them are there?
Yeah.
In 1 year's time.
Yeah.
They're somewhere else.
The game is completely changed. College football.
Well, I've got a gentleman on that's chatting back and forth with me here on the show that he's the strength and conditioning coach at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And
he might have some inside knowledge.
He's showing me some of the numbers, the money numbers. Texas $223 million, Texas A&M $212 million. Ohio State $210 million.
And that's what the revenue. What number is that?
I'm guessing he'll probably pop that up for me here in a second, but I'm going to guess that is
well,
the
Scott,
total revenue.
They put out those numbers. They put out those numbers a while back of the richest schools in
Michigan 197
and A&M and Texas were 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean. Their resources are endless, probably.
The number I heard when Johnny Manziel won the Heisman, the number I heard is that donations to the school that year for Texas A&M were $250 million.
Wow. I just remember, I remember that year because that was when I was finishing school and I worked in the shop at the mall. And one of the things that stuck out to me that year, and I felt like it was such a smack in the face to Johnny Manziel, was Adidas had a T-shirt that year that was made to look like his jersey. Number 2, Texas A&M on the front, but on the back, it had the number 2, and instead of Johnny Manziel, it had football, which everybody knew was his nickname, Johnny Football. But you could say, oh no, that means Texas A&M football. And they got away with marketing that shirt directly as his number.
Seeing it, yeah.
and probably made millions of dollars off that one T-shirt. And that was one of the times when I really sat back and was like,
he might not be missing NFL money right now if he had.
That's
that
what I'm
money
saying. I mean,
coming
you
to
think
him.
about, had he had an NIL. I mean, think about it, guys. Think back over the time frame that we've watched college football. Who are some of the guys that would have just raked it in by the truckload?
Herschel,
Bo,
Reggie White,
Peyton Manning,
Peyton. I mean, those are guys they would have.
Tebow.
Yeah. Oh God, Tebow would have never had to worry about. Once he didn't make the pros, he could have just went off and counted all of his money.
I remember Chris Webber talking about this years ago when he was a freshman at Michigan. He said, "You walk in the bookstore, and I see my Michigan jersey number 4 sitting there with like a $50 or $60 price tag on it."
Yeah, I've heard him speak.
And he's like, "And I'm not getting any money from that." And number 4 wouldn't be there if it wasn't for me.
But I don't know how much he thought about that necessarily then, because it was a different world.
Those numbers are total revenues, guys. Total revenues. He's got
total revenue.
Yeah,
from just the football program alone. From
I'm
the school?
guessing this is just football. So Ohio State 210, Michigan 197, Georgia 197, Penn State 164, Bama 164. That's revenue.
Yeah,
that's a lot of revenue.
Yeah. Well, the year I remember seeing this, the year that LSU won the men's college football, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $250 million the football team brought in, but half the sports that they had were in the hole. So that money was paying for all these other sports. And they only had, I think, men's basketball and men's baseball, Scott, and baseball. If you make some money, you're doing well. Okay?
The point there was just illustrating our point was that Texas schools are king.
Well, absolutely they are. And when they were talking about that last year, if you remember about Jimbo becoming LSU's coach, he came out and said a couple of times, "Guys, I ain't going nowhere. You see the class we're putting together? You think I'm bringing them here to go compete against them?" But there again, he's still got to prove some things by coaching them up.
Yeah. How much time we got?
We got about 14 minutes.
I did want to mention 2 new coaching changes that I am familiar with. Seth Hickman is now the new head baseball coach at Ottawa. Former North Murray head coach.
Former player for Heritage.
Mm-hmm. And Nick Hahn has been named new head volleyball coach at Gordon Lee. And Nick Hahn comes from Calhoun. He 2 years at Calhoun. Previously 3 years at Coosa, where they won 3 state titles. And they have had a pretty good rivalry there with Gordon Lee. I know they met in the state semifinals one time, so that's a big pickup for the Lady Trojans, who last 4 years have been in the Final Four twice and the state finals twice.
And something else, I don't remember if we mentioned it, or if we did, we didn't stay on it long. I mean, Coach Bill Price back on the staff of the Signal Mountain Eagles as a offensive and defensive line coach. So back where it all started.
That's a big pickup for the Eagles. That's a team that.
And you're talking about NIS money now.
Well, but okay.
Is that not how that one got started?
But that's the funny thing, though. We laugh about that, but I mean, are we not potentially in a situation where 5 to 7 years down the road, there's not going to be some kid that comes along? Because think about it. When LeBron James was a senior at St. Vincent St. Mary's, he could have asked for anything, and any merchandise company in America would have had it at his house the very next day had it been legal.
Mm-hmm.
We've opened that door. I mean, are we going to open that door even further? Not that we would, but I'm just saying, once you start down that path.
Well, you're asking juniors and seniors in high school to come to this school, and oh, by the way, when you get here, you've got this.
Yeah.
So who's to say that next step can't be, Scott? We'll just give it to you before you get here.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and stroke you a check right now just to give you a little taste.
Just to assure that you're
Oh,
coming.
they've already started.
Let me give you a little bit to wet your beak, as the old man
It's
used
already
to say
started.
in the Godfather.
Nike just signed their first 2 high school athletes, a pair of sisters, soccer players out in California.
That surprised me one iota.
Okay.
No, this it's already started.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's already started.
Well, I mean, you knew it was a matter of time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was...
And in that situation, Scott, who is possibly there to, if anybody, to stop things like that in high school? I mean, your TSSAs and GSAAs, are they able to step in and draw a line in the sand and say no, not on our watch? Or
it would have to be the state's governing body for high school sports, be it the TSSAA or the GHSA or whatever. And I haven't seen anything about any type of ruling on that stuff. But
maybe they've not been presented with it yet.
Yeah, but it's coming.
This is where you're going to bring
It's
out
coming.
in a situation like this is where you're going to bring out an element that you didn't want to bring out. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, Scott,
do with it what you want, but-
just a few years ago, wasn't there a 7A state champ out of the Atlanta area that had half a dozen quality transfers?
Oh yeah.
And then they ran right back to the schools that they were at after they won the title.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's not shaving the rules off and getting away with it, then what is receiving money from somebody?
Yeah. And look, I hate to see it
And they
come
didn't
to
control
college.
that.
But at the same time, I think the players should get something. But I also think the players should get something if they've put in the time and effort at the college level. I'm not a huge fan of.
You don't like the idea of the freshman getting the
What have
bank
you
handed
proven?
to him and he hadn't done. And again, like in today's world, Scott, he can be here at Texas A&M and he can be playing for Nick Saban the following year.
Yeah.
And if he's a 5-star, saving
I mean, it goes
You're
back
going to
to...
give a kid a $500,000 NIL deal to come to this school, and what if he gets hurt in the summer and he never plays?
It goes back to to me, it goes back to a line that was used last night at the Feather Awards, and our athletic director made the statement of play for the name on the front of the shirt, not for the name on the back of the shirt.
Who said that?
Eve said that.
Oh,
Chris
okay.
Eve said that. And I bring that up because when you're talking about all this stuff, how do you get a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid to buy into what his coach is trying to tell him that's the better thing for that team when that kid don't care? That kid just signed an NIL for, even if it's a small amount, even if it's $50,000,
Well,
even if it's a new car, even if it's any number of things, he just signed something that showed him that he's that much better than everybody else on
There
his
was
team.
a day that
as far as he
SMU
can,
got the death penalty for giving Eric
Those very
Dickerson a
same
car
things,
and
yeah.
the pictures being taken. So times have changed. Coaches in the college ranks right now are learning how to deal with that. So to answer your question, Rusty, it might be 5 years from now, it might be longer. Who knows? High school coaches are going to have to learn to deal with it too, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if a kid's got
Like it or don't like it.
Oh,
got trouble at home and needs the money, I mean, what?
that's the thing, and that's who, more times than not, those are the kids that certain element will target first, because they know that's the kid that's not going to say no because that kid needs it.
Yeah.
And when you teach and coach in an area like this, you see more of those kids than you do the ones that don't need it.
Sure.
So
Sure. Well, state championships are won with teams of hard work and dedication and a commitment to the cause, but they not won without talent.
Yeah.
So it that has to be on the roster as well.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a new world of college athletics now, and especially with football. And
we will probably, the three of us, get our gag order sent to us. Since we didn't get it in the mail, we went ahead and thought
cease and desist
to us.
directly from the NCAA to Scenic City Sports.
yeah, I'm gonna really.
But we've got an attorney somewhere on file, so make sure that we give it to
We know
him.
a few.
I mean, that toothless organization.
Well, and don't let Payne step up and say he's a lawyer now. I mean he's something different every week. So don't let him change and say he's our lawyer.
We do know one that we could probably get to do some stuff for us.
We know several if we had to.
Yeah. I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Bet a few of us owe them too. So
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that is going to do it for another edition of Scenic City Sports Tonight. For Scott, for Rob, for Rusty, we've had fun bringing it to you. Next week, I don't know what you guys, or later this week. I mean,
Probably back towards Sunday.
Okay, like I said, I won't be here. I don't know if I can be on live with you somewhere.
You won't be here.
I'll physically not be here.
We'll figure it out.
Rusty, that's $3.25 we keep in the coffers, because if you ain't here, you ain't getting paid.
That's true.
Yeah. So maybe you can find somebody to come in and fill in for a night.
Maybe.
But we'll see how that goes.
For $3.25.
Yeah. But I will be doing some traveling and trying to decompress for a couple weeks until we get right back to the football season, which starts in about 2 weeks. But
can't wait.
The way it goes.
Can't wait.
Again, thanks for listening. Thanks to all of our sponsors who make it possible, and we have a lot of fun bringing it to you every week, and we're going to continue to have some fun bringing it to you rest of the summer and getting you geared up for the start of the fall season, especially high school football right around the corner. So again, for Scott, for Rob, for Rusty, you've been watching Scenic City Sports Tonight. You guys have a good week.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of its host and owners and in no way represent the views of the people, institutions, or organizations that Scenic City Sports is involved with in a professional or personal capacity. Thanks for watching and enjoy the show.
Well, the days are short and the nights are long. A room slowly fills with song. All I need is one reminder: Parkway Blue Blinders. Well, I begged and cheated and I borrowed for my life upon the road. I'm still looking for some gold at the end of my rainbow. Yes, someday I will find her on a Parkway Blue Blinder. On a Parkway Blue Blinder. Someday I will find her. Yes, someday I will find her on a Parkway Blue Blinder. On a Parkway Blue Blinder. On a Parkway. On the Parkway, on an autumn day. Yes, and leaves falling like confetti in the New York parade. On the Parkway, on an autumn day. Yes, and leaves falling like confetti in the New York parade. circles in a square. Yes, and someday